Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Michael Millett. If you don't know who Michael Millett is and you never heard about this case, Michael Millett was an 8-year-old boy that was mauled to death by 2 dogs on Monday, the 13th of January this year. I just posted a video about this case just a few days ago where I'm explaining every single detail of the case, so I would highly recommend that you watch that video before you watch this one. That way this video is going to make a lot more sense to you. So I've been looking into this case over and over, and I've been listening to the interviews of the officers and the sheriff, and they just said some things that really made me wonder about a few things. There's some things I find very strange, and maybe it's just me. I'm not a detective, I'm not in law enforcement, I'm just me. But there is some things that makes you wonder, and I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not saying the police are not doing their job. I just have questions. I'm gonna play a news clip, and I need you to pay attention to what the officer and the sheriff is saying. Listen to every word they're saying, and then after, I'm gonna explain to you why I have questions and why I think this is unfair, and I don't understand what the problem is about charging Amanda Franco in a crime. Watch this.
We continue staying on top of this story here. 2 dogs still in a mandatory 10-day quarantine tonight after mauling an 8-year-old Michael Millett while walking down the street. Just yesterday, we told you while the dog owner has not yet been charged, authorities say they will be soon.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Jett said the dogs have caused trouble in this neighborhood before. West U's Amanda Franco caught up with the sheriff again today and spoke to a legal expert to find out why the owner has not been held accountable yet.
Family and neighbors in Volusia County are not only heartbroken, they are frustrated, wondering when the owner of 2 dogs that mauled an 8-year-old boy to death will get charged.
We're doing our investigation, and the state attorney at the end of the day is the one who's going to make this call.
Sheriff Mike Jett spoke to West 2 on Friday about the hurdles they're facing.
There's no documented incidents. Like anything else, something happens, everybody's like, oh, this happened, that happened. Well, you never called us. And
deputies captured the pit bull and the mixed breed dog after Michael Millett was killed in DeLand's Berry Ridge neighborhood. The animals are expected to be euthanized soon. As far as consequences for the owner,
and even though it's a horrible crime, and I can't imagine a worse tragedy than what happened to that child. Unfortunately, the degree of tragedy doesn't automatically make it a criminal offense.
Attorney Aaron Delgado in Volusia County, who was not connected to the case, says under Florida statutes, there are really only 2 options: a felony charge if there's proof that the dogs were found dangerous before, or a misdemeanor if there's no record of the dogs being dangerous in the past.
If she knew this was possible and she took no steps to do anything, then it's possible they could try to develop a culpable negligence theory towards a murder prosecution. But I think that would be incredibly challenging.
The sheriff is asking neighbors that if they had any prior issues with the dogs, to come forward.
So they're going to be looking at any kind of circumstantial evidence to show what the state of mind of the owner was, what kind of steps they took.
Delgado says the statutes have not been changed since the 1800s, and it's something Chitwood wants to bring to light.
my job will be, once the state attorney makes a decision, my job is going to be to lobby the legislature to say, take a look at this statute, take a look at what happened to Michael and Michael's family. Is this fair?
Covering Volusia County, Sanaiga Rodriguez, West 2 News.
The sheriff says the dogs are with the county animal services for 10 days, and if the owner does not respond by deadline, those dogs will be euthanized.
Amanda did nothing to prevent her dogs from roaming around by themselves. She left her gate wide open on purpose. You might be wondering why none of the neighbors reported Amanda and her dogs. Was it because they knew who she was and that she was dangerous, and they were afraid that she would find out who reported her? The sheriff said something that does suggest that the neighbors, they were scared. Listen to this.
Anybody in this community who has any information pertaining to these animals or the owner of these animals, to please reach out for either animal control or law enforcement. You know, as we went door to door last night, we heard horrific stories of how the dogs are always at large, of how they destroy chickens, and we've gotten some information from another county that there's possible that they were involved in some other type of an incident there in another county. We're following up on that. So I don't need people to be afraid. Right now I need people to come forward and tell us, because there's no 911 calls to animal services or to the sheriff's office about this address or about these animals. And clearly this just didn't happen in a vacuum. You know, these dogs have been terrorizing the neighborhood for a while and nobody decided to call us.
So I've been doing a lot of digging into fatal dog attacks in Florida over the years, and I'm telling you, there's a lot. It's actually scary. The number is much higher than I thought. But while I was looking into everything and really digging, there was one case that stood out to me. The reason it stood out to me is because I really felt like I was reading about the case of Michael Millett, but I wasn't. This incident with Michael Millett happened before. The details are so similar that it made my hair stand up on my arms. It is terrifying. The case that I found that is so similar to Michael's is about a 7-year-old boy named Jett. He just came home from school and he decided to go outside to ride his bicycle. And that's when he was attacked by 2 dogs. There's different stories about what kind of dogs it was. There's some news sources says that it's 2 bulldogs, and there's another news source that says that it was 2 pit bulls. But it was definitely what you call muscle dogs. The dogs, they just unprovoked attacked Tyler, and he was dragged around in front of his house. Family members, they ran out to help Tyler, and they chased the dogs back to the property where they belonged. Tyler, he had bite wounds all over his face, the back of his neck, the front of his neck, on his stomach. He had so many bite wounds. He was flown to the hospital where he died 1 week later from his injuries. Tyler had a punctured artery in his neck. When the dogs, they came home, the dog owner, Edward Daniels, he noticed that there was a lot of the red on one of the dog's face. He didn't know what happened. He had no idea where it came from, but he decided to wash his dogs. When law enforcement arrived at his house, the neighbors, they confirmed to law enforcement that this was in fact the 2 dogs that attacked Tyler. When the officers, they told the dog owner, Edward Daniels, about what happened, the neighbors said that he didn't really seem so concerned about his dogs taking a 7-year-old boy's life. He was not stressed out. He was not worried. He didn't seem concerned at all. He explained that his dogs, they run away on a regular basis because they are digging holes under the fence to get out. This is just horrifying. Jett, he also lost his life because of a dog attack. These dogs, they were also roaming around the neighborhood, and it was actually said that the dogs were chasing a different child that got away, and that's when they turned their attention on Tyler. It's absolutely terrifying, and it's so heart-wrenching. Those boys, they didn't stand a chance. But the reason I have a lot of questions is because Edward Daniels, he was arrested for possession of the green that people are smoking, substances. He was charged with manslaughter and tampering with evidence. This case was taken to trial, and a jury decided that Edward Daniels, he was not guilty of tampering with evidence because he didn't know where the red came from, and that's why he washed the dogs. But he was found guilty of manslaughter and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The details of this case are so similar. Listen to this. Michael Millett was outside his house driving his bicycle, and then he was attacked. Jett was outside his house riding his bicycle, and he was attacked. Michael Millett had his neck broken by the dogs. Jett had an artery in his neck punctured by the dogs. Both boys lost their life. Amanda Franco, that is the dog owner of the dogs that unalived Michael Millett, she had a criminal history that was so long that you wouldn't believe it. Everything from substances to battery to assault with a dangerous weapon. But Edward Daniels, he didn't have a criminal record before this incident. And the two dog owners' behavior is also the same. Amanda Franco is not cooperating with the police at all. She refuses to sign over the dogs to law enforcement. She is not acknowledging the death of Michael. Edward Daniels didn't seem concerned at all that his dogs unalived a 7-year-old boy. Both of them were acting like, who cares? It's not freaking normal. But in the interviews with the officer and the sheriff in this case with Michael, I feel like they are saying it's going to be very difficult to charge Amanda with criminal charges. It's going to be very, very problematic, and it's going to be challenging. It's going to be very difficult. I don't understand that, because they also said in the same interview that the laws, the rules, the statutes in Florida has been the same. It didn't change since the 1800s. So one would assume that the same statutes, rules, and laws were there in 2013 when Jett was mauled to death by two dogs. In 2025, Michael Millett is mauled to death by two dogs. Edward Daniels is charged and convicted in 6 months. Like that. But when it comes to Amanda Franco, it's problematic, it's very difficult, and it's very challenging. Make it make sense. I don't understand. These cases, to me, they are exactly the same. None of their dogs were reported. None of the dogs was deemed dangerous. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. The cases are exactly the same, in my opinion. So why was it so easy to arrest and charge Edward Daniels with manslaughter? Like this. From April to October, he was charged, and he was found guilty, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. But this case with Amanda Franco is just dragging along. They need to investigate. It's going to be a big problem. It's very challenging. It's very difficult. The cases are the same. What's the problem? Make it make sense to me, because I don't understand this. But I really want to know what you think. So leave a comment down below. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I misunderstood some rules or something. But if you read about the case about Jett, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I feel like there shouldn't be any problem. The statutes are exactly the same. The rules, the laws, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. He said that himself in the interview. So what's the problem? I don't get it. But with that being said, I wanted to create some awareness about dog attacks and how to protect yourself, how to avoid being attacked, and what to do if you're being attacked. Because this is heartbreaking, and I was like, I found some videos I want to make very clear that I did not make these videos, but I'm going to give all the credit to the content creator. There's 2 videos for adults, and there's 2 videos that's made for children so they understand. So if you watch those videos, you will know what to do if you're being attacked by a dog. And there's 2 videos that you can show to your children so they know what to do if they're being attacked by a dog and there are no adults around. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think. And until the next one, take care and stay safe. Bye.